Okay. Right, we are recording. So, hello and welcome to Dr. Lewis Turner from Lancashire LGBT. He's very kindly given up some time today to come and talk to me about some LGBT issues that's very important to us as a college, and that's the Transgender Guidelines and Transgender Student Handbook. You're all aware, of course, that February is LGBT History Month. Tutorials have been coming out to do with the theme of this year, which is mind, body and spirit, which hopefully you'll engage with and enjoy, and it'll raise some questions and discussion. I've got more information to share with you, but right now I'm going to take us to being able to introduce properly Dr. Lewis Turner. Just before I continue, I'm well aware that I haven't introduced myself. My name is Karen Livesey. Some of you I've met, some of you I haven't. Of course, in this hard lockdown time of online training, I don't get out and about as much physically as I would like. So my name is Karen Livesey and I'm the Equality, Diversity and Inclusion Coordinator. And it's my role to put on events and activities like this. So Lewis, perhaps if you'd like to introduce yourself, that would be lovely.
Yeah, I'm Lewis Turner. I'm Chief Executive of Lancashire LGBT, which is a pan-Lancashire charity supporting lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans and plus people. Wonderful,
thank you. So I want to home in on the detailed question, right, just specifically to do with the transgender guidelines. It's something that has only just been presented to college this month and onwards. And I wanted to ask you why. Why do you think this transgender guidance is important?
Well, firstly, any transgender guidance is important because there's a huge knowledge gap in this area. And in my experience, when there's a knowledge gap, it tends to get filled with assumptions by people in organisations. So this sets out very, very clearly what the college's responsibilities are in terms of supporting trans students. It's very, very much about inclusion and commitment to the well-being of trans students, so that transitioning at college or being trans and non-binary at college shouldn't negatively impact on somebody's learning, because the whole point of being in a college is about learning, and you need to feel supportive. So these guidelines, I think, are really, really good and clear, because it's got some really good, clear statements in it about the responsibilities of people, and it's got loads of useful stuff in it, I think.
Excellent. Thank you. That's good. I'm glad you think it's going to be a wonderful supportive tool and informative for students and staff, of course, as well. My other question is, what do you think are key issues of support needed for trans young people?
Well, I think certainly support from the college is really, really important, because being trans or non-binary isn't easy anyway. But if you need to be in an environment where you feel that you are supported, and because if you are transitioning or you're trans and non-binary, there can be barriers, institutional barriers within certain environments. And being trans and non-binary or transitioning is hard enough as it is, and you need to not have an additional. You've got all that to deal with, and then to have those additional barriers within an organisation like a college or university just makes it even harder. So that, I think those are really, really important, is to feel that there's not going to be these huge hurdles to overcome, but also, peer support. Certainly, any trans or non-binary person needs to have peer support anyway, but not just from their trans and non-binary peers. I think it's really, really important that they have the peer support of non-trans people, or cisgender, some people called. It's really important that you have allies as well. And this guidance, I think, makes it very, very clear. It's a very clear statement about the values of the college and the responsibilities for everybody to be supportive and inclusive. So I think having the peer support of everybody, not just a small group of people, I think is really important.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And when we have the Freddie principles at college, fairness, respect, equality, inclusion, diversity, engagement, and that's something that should be a living dynamic, really, that we do, in our day-to-day life, that we make those principles live and exist. Yes. Yeah, thank you for that. I have another question. What do you think? Well, I think you've said it, but maybe if there's anything more you want to say, what do you think generally about the transgender guidelines?
Well, there's lots of really good stuff in it that I sort of had a look at it and I've picked out. it's got strategies, you know, really clear strategies, clearly laid out about how to create a supportive environment. That's wonderful. That's really good, because people can read a guidance and go, yeah, but how do I actually put that into practice? So I think that's a really, really good addition to it. I think that it's also got some really good templates, some really useful templates, again, because within an organization, people might know what the right thing to do is, but they don't know how to do it. And there's lots of, what I really like about one of the templates is it's about consent to share information and update college records. But it's got a support plan checklist, which is really, really useful. And who's got responsibility for what? Because there's lots of different elements when you're transitioning and you're changing your name and your gender. There's lots of different factors that need to be all aligned all at once at the same time. And it's something that we've always advocated as an organisation when we try to support other organisations, is to say, you know, we need to have these things happening all at the same time, because it's not good if somebody's lanyard has changed, their ID has changed, but their email address hasn't changed or something like that, you know. So I think that's really, really useful. You've got some very good practical stuff in it. And the template, the letter template, change agenda, really, really useful stuff, because, you know, when you are transitioning, it can be really, really daunting because you have to write official letters, and it's, you know, it's really, really daunting, and it'd be one of those jobs you could put off, but you've got the template there to start you with that you can edit yourself. I think that's a really, really ingenious addition to the guidance. I've not seen it before. I look at lots of different guidances for across the county for loads of different organisations, and I think that's really good, practical, useful tools in it. And like before, as I said, I don't know if I said before, but it's got a clear outline of who's responsible for what, you know, what the responsibilities of everybody is in the college. It isn't just one person. It's not just you, Karen. You know, absolutely. Everybody throughout the whole structure of the college, it's clearly written there in black and white what their responsibilities are. So everybody, you know, is sharing that together. It isn't just the responsibility of one person. And I think that's really, really good. And I think it's really clear, it's really succinct, it's got definitions at the end. People are like, oh, I don't know what these definitions are. That's at the end as well. So, but it's not too overly wordy as well. I think it's really, really good, concise guidance tool.
Wonderful, thank you so much. It's interesting hearing somebody outside the organisation giving that feedback, because yes, it was created to be a helpful tool and to be a dynamic thing. I agree with you, not just something that's written and collects dust on a shelf, you know. It needs to be something that's a living and helpful, you know, guidance and document. Yeah. We also have the Transgender Student Handbook, which sits side by side with that, which is a neater sort of, you know, easy accessible to get to the templates, to get to the info, resources, etc. But obviously the guidelines is for staff as well as students, whereas the handbook is just for students. So they both exist. So thank you very much, Lewis. Thank you so much for your time.
Welcome.
Wonderful. Thank you. Okay. Now what I want to do, Lewis, is check that this is recorded. So I'm going to, because there was some great stuff. I thought, oh, I hope this is good. Let me just go. Oh, here we go. Pause. Stop recording. So if I do. And so, as you know, there's tutorials throughout February to do with LGBT History Month. It was lovely talking to Dr. Lewis Turner from Lancashire LGBT about his, you know, confirmation of how good the transgender guidelines is. And of course, as you know, there is a transgender student handbook as well. If you see at the bottom left there is the LGBT plus History Month. There, of course, there's lots of activities and information that you can have a look at their website. And that's what the transgender guidance looks like. We have got on Wednesday the 24th a drop-in between 12:15 and 1 o'clock, and it's for virtual coffee, so you make your own cup of coffee or drink or whatever, but come and chat and stay for as long or as little as you like, half an hour, 10 minutes, it's up to you. And it's your chance here to meet other students, ask any questions related to LGBTQ, find out about perhaps becoming a Freddie representative, because we're looking for different Freddie representatives. And you know what Freddie stands for. It's fairness, respect, equality, diversity, inclusion, and engagement. find out about the Transgender Student Handbook and the Transgender Guidelines, and of course meet me, Equality, Diversity, Inclusion Coordinator. And be part of planning the next LGBTQ get-together. What does it look like? When should it be? You know, what do you think? And share some ideas with me, because I would really love to know what you think would work for students. Useful contacts and websites here, quite a wide range. The Proud Trust is very, very positive. Lots of very good information there. UR Potential, of course, offers advice, particularly trans advice and information for young people and their family members. LGBT Youth Northwest is a regional youth organisation, and they have lots of face-to-face youth work activities when we can, of course, when COVID lets us, and conferences and events, etc. So signing up to LGBT Youth Northwest might be a very positive thing to do. Mermaids, of course, is a national charity that connects and supports young people that are trans and their families. And just a few more, GIRES is a UK organisation that empowers and gives voice to trans and gender non-conforming individuals. Iman, of course, is the UK leading LGBTQ Muslim charity. And GIRO is for youth groups who, young people who identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual or trans in the sort of Liverpool, Merseyside area. And of course, Lancashire LGBT, which of course where Lewis Turner's come from, who supports adults. And that's it really. Thank you so much for listening. As I say, do turn up at the drop-in. If you can't, send me an email and I'll get back to you and ensure you're on my contact list, or let your tutors know, and enjoy the rest of your day.